As a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior.
There's two ways to learn a lesson, the hard way and the hardest way. There's no easy way to learn a lesson. You have to learn the hard way. So God gives us lessons via difficulty. He thinks you need to learn this about yourself or this about other people. So I'm going to give you a difficult time so you can learn your lesson. But there's a lot of people who complain about the bad things that happen in their life, not understanding that without the bad things, you'd have no life at all. You need all of the bad things. You need the mental struggle. You need to go through things which you regret. You need to sit there so that if you've never regretted any action you've ever taken, how can you sit and make a intelligent decision for the future? You can't do it. You need to sit and say, well, I felt the sting of regret for X. I don't want to feel the sting of regret for Y. You need this experience. And that's what life is all about. People think that life is just the good times. And this is the massive misconception. Love is a perfect example. Let's use love. Because people think being in love is holding hands and I hold hands and we cuddle in bed. I love them. Love is the whole spectrum. Love is missing them. Love is breaking up with them. Love is being sad they don't text you. Love is the whole circle. There's no up without down. Anything that has the ability to emotionally affect you positively has the ability to emotionally affect you negatively. Luck. Where does the luck come from? Comes from God. Who does God favor? What makes God like you? God likes you when you try. There's nothing that's going to piss God off more than wasting what he fucking gives you. If you give someone a Ferrari and they look after it perfectly, you're happy. If you give someone a Ferrari and see it the next day, it's got cigarette butts, it's treated like shit. Would you be happy you gave him a Ferrari? God gave you a consciousness. He gave you a body. He gave you a mind, and you're not even fucking using it. You're crying over that bitch who left you. You're not using it to be the best version of yourself. You're not using it to get as rich and powerful as possible. You're not using it to change the world. You're not using it to protect those you love. You're not using it for anything. And you expect God to make you lucky? God only has so much luck to give out. Wouldn't he give it to his soldiers who dedicate themselves and try? Wouldn't he think, you know what, that Tate motherfucker, he's been through something and he will not quit and he will not stop and he's never said he doesn't deserve it. He's never bitched. He's never moaned. He's never felt sorry for himself. He's never complained. He got up every day and worked. Let's give him some luck. What about this guy? Always crying, always has a problem, always feels sorry for himself, always needs motivation, never gets anything done, everything's everyone else's fault. Does he deserve any of the luck I have in my pocket? The answer is fucking no. You make your own luck by dedicating yourself to the universe. I said this before. I said it in a rain dancing term. Rain dancing. I said if you need it to rain and your life depends on it, you should do a rain dance. Now, do rain dances make clouds come? No. But perhaps, by some strange twist of fate, far in the distance, another tribe will see you rain dancing and realize you need water. And they'll think, he needs water. And we need something he has. And they'll bring you water. If you didn't rain dance and just sat there waiting for it to rain, the water would have never come. There's no such thing as working too hard. You'd be amazed how if you just do work, how amazing things happen. There are people dying in a fucking ditch, bro.
It's true.
You're dying in a fucking ditch, and what do? You're sad about what? You ain't found the time to go to the gym. Why? You haven't worked on anything. You haven't dedicated yourself to anything. Why? I just don't feel like it. Well, you're a piece of shit. It's ungrateful to the universe. It's ungrateful to God himself to waste what he gives you. You want to talk about how you end up lucky. And I would argue that I'm a very lucky person. On a long enough time frame, I can't think of a single time I've ever lost. It may look like I'm going to lose, but in the end, I always seem to win.
You're not a quitter at all.
Bro, I'm not a quitter. I'm a fucking fighter. I will squirm to the last second. The reason it's so easy to win in the world today is because the majority of people are perfectly prepared to lose. You just described. You have to wake up and you have to give a shit. You have to wake up and go, you know what? I'm responsible for my health, and I'm responsible for my finances, and I'm responsible for my family, and I'm responsible for the decisions I make, and I'm responsible for my work ethic, and I'm responsible for my motivation, and I'm going to win. That's all you have to do to be monumentally wealthy. And the reason it is so fucking easy is because most people can't do that. If everyone could do that, then to win would be hard. So I would hate for all the losers to start being winners, because then it's hard for winners to win. And I still want to win against the winners. But luckily, God has put us in this version of the simulation where it is so brutally easy to surpass everyone around us. I look at people and just go, you haven't even fucking tried. It's like a race and the gun goes off and I start running as fast as I can. And I turn around and no one's even moved. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll jog then. And I'm nearly done and no one's even moved. Then I start walking. Then I just lay down and just have a rest. And I look at the back of the finish line, the start line, and everyone's still standing there. I don't feel like running. I'm not motivated. I'm stressed. I'm depressed. How there are people waking up each morning and not giving a shit about their own life. Who do you expect to wake up and give a shit if you don't? Or even you or me? Do you think any of us wake up and go, John, I really need to get John a Ferrari. I really need to get John a Ferrari and a hot bitch and a nice big house. Today I'm going to focus on John. No, we don't give a fuck. We'll help you if you're here to help, if you're here to be helped.
Now you care. No, you care about John.
No, the point is, if John cares about himself,
then you're about to help.
Then I'll help him.
I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
And you need to get very comfortable and very used to the idea of understanding that on your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. Discipline is the key to success in all realms as a man. And if you lack it, you stand no chance. You can give most people a roadmap to success. You can give them a Ferrari with a full tank of gas, and a lot of people still wouldn't make the destination because they would say the drive is too far away. Quitters, they don't have the discipline. You can tell them exactly how to do it. You can give them the mechanism to get there, but they don't have the discipline to complete the drive. Young people, a lot of men say to me, especially like, what's fun? And I'm saying doing what you're supposed to do and fulfilling your duty and being proud of yourself is fun. That's the only fun you need. You don't need the fun of trying to chase all this garbage and this hedonism and this black hole. That doesn't lead anywhere.
Did you do that for a while?
For a while, yeah, certainly.
So did I.
You have to.
Yeah.
Until you get to a point where you realize, okay, this is never going to end. Am I going to continue to go down this path, or am I going to turn around and just skip it all?
Right.
Because it only ends badly. And I think that's also one of the problems with Western society, where the youth are obsessed with fun. If you look at other societies, the youth are not so obsessed with what's fun today. What's fun now? I need fun now. I'm bored. I want fun. You know, they're overstimulated, whatever it is. They're also selfish. They're also self-obsessed with how they feel. This teaching a whole society and teaching a large contingent of the youth that how they feel plays paramount over the world. If you feel sad, that's all that matters. Not, well, I feel sad, but it doesn't matter because I'm doing the right thing. I feel depressed or I feel stressed, but it doesn't matter because I'm dedicating myself. No. What matters is how you feel right now, which means they only want to be happy all the time. And if you're going to only chase happiness and you don't have any particular skills, you're going to end up just chasing hedonism, and this is where you end up. And it's insanity. I think one of the largest tenets of masculinity for the largest period of human time is ignoring how you feel and doing what you're supposed to do because you're supposed to do it. We feel things, but jobs must be done, whether we are happy or sad. And this is also disappearing from the world. I'm stressed probably 6 days a week. I'm pissed off 6 days a week. But things need to be done.
Right.
So you just have to do them. And when you have a whole contingent of the youth obsessed with only being happy, I think this is one of the largest reasons they can psyop them so easily into doing insanity. And I guess it never used to be that way.
No, it was never that way.
So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars. They didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Yeah. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they are been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, probably maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. I pray to put myself in a position where if the mass media machine attempts its very best to destroy my life, I can laugh and smile from my villa in Dubai. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight. So it's just a different mentality.
Some people don't want to win. And the people who don't want to win are not going to win.
Yeah.
So when he sits and says, oh, we need to balance everything out, you cannot legislate everyone rich. You cannot make a loser have what a winner has, because winners are busy winning.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of it.
Right.
The truth is, you need to instill a culture inside of young people that, and he says, and people say this, not everyone wants to be a hustler. Not everyone wants to have to go out there and grind. Yeah, but some people do. The world's not a perfect place.
There's a lot of men out there, especially in the world today, who only want to do things because they feel a certain way, not understanding that doesn't make them competitive anymore. The biggest question I get asked all the time is, hey, I lack motivation. And it's an annoying question to me because so do I sometimes. I don't always feel motivated to go to the gym. I don't always feel motivated to work. I don't always feel motivated to do what I need to do, but I do it anyway. It's called discipline.
Yeah.
And if you're going to wake up every day and lack the motivation to do what should be done and compete against people who will do it irregardless of how they feel, you're going to perpetually and forever lose. In fact, it makes you a child to even wake up and say, when you're asking someone for motivation, what you're effectively doing is saying, make me want to do it. Please make me want to do it. I don't want to do it. Make me want to. No, you have to do it. Or you can stay a fucking loser.
Answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain, we're all going to starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor. What do I do? It was, I'm poor. I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I'd just go for 3 mile run. Or go hit the punch bag and get better.
This resonates so deeply, man. This is exactly what I did.
That's exactly. You just have to say, well, I have to do something. I can't just sit still and die.
The idea of self-betrayal is something most of you are struggling with and you didn't even realize. So as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here and I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? How many times have you betrayed yourself? Don't worry about your enemies attempting to crush you. That's another conversation. If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage. And once you're in a position like me where you never betray yourself, where your mind never lets you down, ever. My mind knew exactly what I had to do. I did not miss a single day's training. I did not lose my mind. I did not go mental. I did not have a breakdown. I acted exactly as I was supposed to act. I was fully professional in all things. I got as much work done as I could possibly do. I was extremely productive. I used the experience for what it was. My mind never betrayed me. If you listen and look back on most of your failures, you're going to see that it was your own mind that betrayed you. It wasn't your enemies that tricked you. It wasn't your enemies that outmaneuvered you or outsmarted you. Most of you are not yet at high enough echelon to even have enemies of caliber. You were simply self-betraying. And until you identify that pattern and get yourself in the habit of ensuring that is impossible, then you're always going to lose against people who fully believe in themselves.
And another thing I also preach, and this is another thing that's very important, I also think as a man, because life as a man is pain and suffering, and when I say that, because you're never going to be a good man or good at being a man without pain and suffering. You're going to have to go through a bunch of shit and have a terrible life to become a good man. I think you should embrace that and accept it. And I think that the correct mental model for men to have is a degree of stoicism and not to be too concerned with even how they feel. If I woke up today happy, I would have done this interview with you. If I woke up today sad, I would have done this interview with you. What's the difference? Why put so much importance on my emotion if certain things must be done? I must work, I must train, I must see Tucker Carlson, I must resist the Matrix.
You've got duties.
I've got things to do. So why are we going to sit around and talk about how I feel if it doesn't even affect how I act? And as a man, it shouldn't, because there's too much to do. And the masculine world is hyper competitive. This is another thing most people don't understand.
Totally agree.
It's hyper competitive out here. All the women want a few men at the top. The Ferrari, you don't want a Ferrari to drive fast. You want a Ferrari because other men want a Ferrari and can't have one. It's hyper competitive. So if you're competing against every other man for every dollar you make, every girl you see, the house you live in, the car you drive, the life you live, you're not going to be able to compete with the person who performs regardless of how they feel if you only compete when you feel like competing. Right? Because there's men like me out there who will be sad every day and outcompete you regardless. I don't care how I feel. I will still win. And that's the kind of mindset you need to adopt. So I don't, when a man comes...
You've got a job to do. Stop whining. Go to work.
Completely.
Yeah, I agree.
Completely.
A lot of people are obsessed with the idea of happiness. And especially as a man, I think that happiness can actually be a very destructive motivator. And when men sit and say, I want to be happy, I want to feel happy. To feel happy, a lot of the time, you're looking for temporary hedonism. To be happy, you want to get drunk or take drugs or do something stupid temporarily, and it's very short-lived. I think you should instead be looking as a man to say, I want to feel proud. If you choose pride over happiness, you're going to make decisions that you're proud of and that people around you are proud of, and it's going to be better for yourself and better for society and better for everyone who loves you, everyone you care about.
I would say, okay, but I need a emotional motivation to do that. I need to be unhappy having not completed the task. I need to be uncomfortable. Right? If you're uncomfortable being out of shape, you'll get in shape. If you're happy being out of shape, then you're just going to stay out of shape, right? So if you feel a degree of uncomfortableness inside of your mind, I think it's just your mind telling you that something about your life needs to change.
Yes.
You need to get up and change something. Guys would say to me, I'm depressed because I'm fat and I have no girlfriend. And I'd say, no, you have no girlfriend and you're fat and that's why you're depressed. If you go change those two things, you'd probably be surprised that your disease goes away. I had another guy say he was going to kill himself. I said, listen, it's back when I used to reply to my emails when I was smaller. I said, make me a promise, get a six-pack first.
Of beer?
I said, get a six-pack first, get in fantastic shape, and then do whatever you want. Didn't want to kill himself once he was in fantastic shape.
So he did it?
Yeah. I have the before and after. I'll put him on Twitter. Kind of interesting that, isn't it? So how are we going to say we have this disease, which is cause and effect? How are we going to say we have this disease where there's something wrong with you as a man, you have a disease because your life sucks? I mean, I don't think that's true. I think that your life just sucks and you should change it.
A lot of people are happy to just sit still and die or jerk off and go to sleep and take a nap. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you can say a loser. That's fine. I'm glad there are losers, because if everyone had Lamborghinis, my Lamborghini wouldn't be fun to show off. I need you to look at it and feel the deep pain in your heart of regret and failure. That's the whole point of it. I need to drive my Bugatti and everyone be looking at it going, I'll never have one of those. And I can get all their energy and feel it all, and it makes me happy. Fantastic. So you can sit at home and do nothing. But when I was poor, I had to go for a run. I couldn't sit still or lift weights or do something. I couldn't even sleep. So raw action solves everything. And I understood that at a young age. But as you get older, you get to look back and you get to put your whole story together, the whole tapestry together. I knew I wouldn't stay poor. Did I ever think I'd get this rich? Well, I never said I wouldn't, but did I ever think it would probably happen at this level? No. But it's amazing how the compounding interest of just endless raw action adds up.
Oh, I don't feel motivated. Listen, if you're not motivated to go to the gym, and that has resulted in you being obese, suffering health adversity, so you're now damaged your health. On top of that, you're less attractive to females. On top of that, your energy levels are lower. If you really need motivation to just lose weight and live a life worth living, then there's something wrong with you. I train every single day and I'm never motivated, but I'm disciplined. I never wake up and think, yeah, I want to train. I've been training my whole life. I'm bored of it. But it's something that has to be done, right? So the idea of entertainment, the idea of motivation, these things are completely detrimental to discipline. People come to me all the time and say, how do I get motivated? I say, you don't. You get disciplined. I don't care if you feel like doing X. You must do X or you will stay a loser. So do you want to be a loser or do you want to do X? It has nothing to do with motivation. So a lot of these things, people are constantly distracted. And I think a lot of the things that are taught and told about discipline are actually detrimental to a disciplined mindset as a whole.
I've never had a lazy day. I've never skipped work, never missed an email, never had a day off, ever. You name if you were to go through the last 3 years of my life, you will see that there's never been a day where I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And it all just adds up, and then monumental success comes and you get to laugh at everybody else, ha ha ha, and life's great. But I really believe God's given me one of the best lives, and I can't complain about anything bad that's happened. It's all been fantastic. I'm truly thankful for all of it.
Do you practice gratitude every day?
But I don't have to practice it because I'm actually truly thankful for all the bad things that have happened.
That's beautiful.
I truly am like, thank you, God, for that difficult time.
You created that belief before you had all of this stuff or after you began to receive all of this stuff?
I think if a couple bad things happen to you, you should be intelligent enough to realize that eventually you're going to get over it and you're going to learn an important lesson. It's going to change you in the correct direction. And Allah is the best of planners and he knows what you need to learn. I think that as humans, especially as men, we only learn the hard way anyway. My fight coach used to say, you have to feel it to believe it. That's why if he was teaching low kicks, he'd kick your leg off. Because you don't believe in the power of a low kick. You don't believe a low kick can be so devastating unless you've felt it. You have to feel it to believe it. So God will give you a difficult time so you learn your lessons. And the lessons are very important for you to be the person who you need to be in this life. He's the best of planners. And I'm thankful for all the lessons he's given me. He's bestowed knowledge upon me. How could I not be grateful to God for making me so intelligent and wise and the ability to look into things so deeply and come up to the right decision and basically predict the future perfectly? How did I know they were all going to arrest me? How did I know how the world works? You have to have difficulty happening to you all the time. So when you sit and say, I want an easy life, what you're saying is you're a dummy and you want to be a dummy. You want to stay a dummy. I want an easy life. And I don't want anything bad to happen to me because even though it will teach me lessons, I can't handle the emotional pain. I can't handle the stress. So you want to stay a dumbass. I don't want to be a dummy. I want to be smart.
Genuinely imagine what you would look like. Imagine where you would live. Imagine the car you would drive. Imagine how much your woman would respect you. Imagine the love you would see in her eyes when she looks at you with adoration like a king. Imagine your existence. That person is waiting for you. And the only thing that's stopping you from being that person is your monumental laziness. You can have it. The universe is very giving. It will give you anything you work for. I've never seen somebody try for something with all of their might and not get it. The only people who do not have the things they want are the people who do not try for them. I've never seen a person wake up and say, my only dedication in life is to solve a Rubik's Cube and fail. You are not stupid. You are not incompetent. You are lazy and arrogant. It's extremely important you understand that that person is waiting for you and you are declining that version of yourself. In the multiverse, in the many different versions of the universe that exist, there is a version of you that does those exact things. And he is a greater person than you can even fathom. You can transform yourself into that guy. You can be a top G. That's exactly what I did. I knew who I was going to have to end up being before I became that person. My brother and I are not from rich families. We are not from advantaged beginnings, but I knew I had to be a big, strong, fighting billionaire. That's what I knew I had to be. Discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline. If you do not have the discipline to dedicate yourself to anything, you are going to fail and be crushed by the people who can. If you only go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're never going to be as strong as the people who go to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym. That is a reality of life. So I train every single day. I've actually heard from some people saying, you overtrain. And I explained to them, one, I don't believe in rest. I'm not you. I'm not pussy and I'm not broke like you are, Mr. Fitness Trainer, standing around the gym teaching people for $50 an hour. I don't need to listen to you. Secondly, I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it. So I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. I am that man. And it's more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot? Discipline is absolutely essential for success.
My life is just work. But that's boring, right? But that's the truth about it. I'm on my laptop all day, every day. I have 18 hours a day of screen time. I'm either training or I'm working. Do I know some women? Yes, of course. Do I have some fancy cars to drive? Yes. Can I go to the odd restaurant? Yes. But the majority of the time, all I do is work because that's what I enjoy to do. I don't think most things outside of work are as entertaining as the work itself. That's why I'm successful. Yeah, I do have women who I know, and yeah, I can have that crazy lifestyle, and I did it for a while. But I wouldn't even say it's empty. You know, people get successful and they start to say, oh, I'm above that. It's empty. It's empty. It's vaporous. That's true. I just don't think it's as fun as working. I think just winning is fun. I think the whole point of life as a man is competition in the first place.
I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read. And it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc. And the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them, they were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you.
Well, also, there's no light without dark, and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. Exactly. And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness. Yeah. As long as I am alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world, then then I'm a vessel of God, and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about that.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
But it's also very interesting because you talk about wisdom. You use the word wisdom, and I appreciate the compliment. I don't read books. I never read a book, except for in jail, because I don't have time. All of the wisdom I have, all of this knowledge I speak, all of these things I say have been learned through basically difficulty of life, through professional fighting and being poor and all bad things happening to me and struggle. All of my lessons have been bad things, bad events, bad scenarios, bad situations, pain, suffering, anger, resentment. All of these horrible emotions are how I've learned everything. So I thank God for giving them to me. And anyone who wants an easy life wants to stay a dummy. What do you learn if you just get money, you buy a crypto coin, it blows up, you get some money, you sleep with some girls, you go to some restaurants? What do you learn about anything?
You don't. There's no purpose, because I reached the other end of the spectrum. I realized that now I have this, but there's no meaning to my life anymore.
Absolutely.
And this is the reason why I'm doing this, because I want to add more meaning to my life.
Completely. And then when you're searching for meaning, when you're living that type of life and you end up searching for meaning, you end up down the path of hedonism, because the meaning is I want to have as much fun as possible. But fun in and of itself, I was talking to another girl, and I was saying to her that fun, she was saying to me, you know what, Andrew, all you do is work. You never really have fun. And I said, fun is haram. And she said, she's a Christian girl. She goes, is fun really haram? I'm like, no, it's not. But please understand what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is, when you look at what most people do for fun, it's look, when fun is clubs, drinking, running around, laughing like a kid, all this, all the bad things in life, the negative haramities can be attained through this obsession with fun. If you find a man who's obsessed with work, he's not going to do many bad things. The concept of fun. I have things I need to do, and I feel satisfied inside when I do them. I have duty and I have work and I have obligations to fill and objectives to meet. I feel happy when they are done. That is my fun. My fun is clearing my emails, making $2 million in the day, buying another investment property I don't need, going to bed, training hard, eating right. That's my fun. Call me boring. That's my fun.
That's not boring.
But that's what I enjoy.
When I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man, you have duty, you have honor, you have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma-obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done.
As a man, 99% of the time, you're going to be stressed or annoyed about something that's just happened, currently happening, or about to happen. That's life. We live constantly anxious. We have a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
And you either suffer the consequence of the stress it requires to be a somebody, or you suffer the consequence of having no stress because you're a fucking nobody and you work in Starbucks and then you're a no one. Yeah. There's no escape the eternal suffering of man. Women get to be happy. We build these huge empires so women can sit around and, sit with the baby and enjoy their lives. And we're happy to give it to them because we're nice. But happiness is for women and children. So many men say to me, how I don't feel happy. I'm like, so? You think I'm happy? 7 criminal convictions. I got nearly $1 billion. I'm still stressed. I got criminal convictions, work to do. I was up at 6 a.m. I got to go here. I got to go there. I've got to train. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. At what point do you think you've earned the right to wake up as a man and feel happy? Have men ever been happy? Name a period in human history where men were happy. Because if I think back, they were all dying in ditches somewhere.
I guess it depends how you define happiness. I'm happy when I'm doing something, when I'm building something. That's when I'm happy.
You're content.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're achieving something.
Like today.
Which is the masculine imperative. But this is effectively work, right? Yeah. But if you wake up and say, no, I don't want to work, I just want to be happy.
No, I'd be miserable. Well, everybody would be. In fact, I retired at 25 and was miserable after 2 months.
No, winners would be miserable. But losers love it. And that's why they lose.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Losers say all the time, losers have this problem with temporary motivation. A loser will come and say, I really want to change my life. I can't live like this anymore. And they'll mean what they say for about 2 days. Mm-hmm. And then they're happy to go back to being a loser again. They really want it Monday to Friday, but on the weekend, they're happy to go back to how they were.
Yeah.
And that's why they never escape. They never get the terminal velocity required to break free from the atmosphere of mediocrity. So, I'm conditioned to win. Just like you said, you can't handle the idea of stagnation. You can't handle the idea of retirement. I'm the same. But I'm not going to lie and pretend that that mindset means I live stress-free. In fact, I would argue that I adopt endless stress all of the time because I'm looking for problems to solve, because I'm looking for money to make. I'm looking to win.
If you win, you manifested it. Fantastic. If you lose, you would have spent so much time imagining it that you're really going to want it. And because you're really going to want it in your mind, you're going to be more motivated to work hard than ever before. Most of you do not use your mind for what it's for. You've forgotten how to imagine things. But you cannot close your eyes and vividly imagine. You can't give yourself goosebumps. You can't evoke an emotion in yourself anymore. This is an age-old skill that humans had very recently up till social media. You should be able to close your mind and imagine the life you want to live so viscerally, to the point where you can taste it, so that this reality, the one outside of your mind, feels like nothing but a prelude, a ramp, which allows you to get where you want to go. The mind is that powerful. If you ask any champion of anything, they always envision themselves as champion all of the time. And the reason they do that is, one, so they feel confident, but two, so that if they don't become champion, they're more angry and more motivated for the next attempt to ensure that they do become champion. So that's the mentality and the mindset you have to have. Your mind is your number one ally in all things. A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. When you have negative thoughts that prevent you from being the best version of yourself, you should understand that your mind is attempting to betray you, and you should feel disgust because you have enough enemies. There are enough people in that opposing trench trying to destroy you. If you're watching this and listening to this right now, I promise you, if I were to give a button to most humans on this planet, if I were to go up to an average man, 25-year-old man of average income anywhere in the world, and say, if you press this button, this guy's gonna die. And I'll show a picture of you holding your dog, cuddling, being a nice little boy, whatever you're doing. I'll make you look sweet and innocent. I'll say, if you press this button, this guy dies, but you get $100 million. You do understand that 99.9% of people will press that button, right? And they'll take that 100 million without remorse. They won't really think about you very much. And if they do, they'll distract themselves with a Lamborghini and with bitches. That's it. They won't care about you. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest that the idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You need to be in a better position than that. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. It has to be 100% on side all of the time. Once your mind is on side, once every part of your psyche is on your team, that's when you can go and look for other teammates. You can expand your network of other people whose psyche is all 100% on their side, and you have a unified outlook on the world. Then you can go and get things done.
Manifestation is real, but not because your mind manages to magically attract the things you want. I don't believe it.
Your results reflect your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just reminds you of what you really want, and it allows you to find energy all the time. If you manifest yourself having a perfect physique, you're going to be a lot more motivated in the gym. It's not the thought that makes the physique, it's the gym that makes the physique. However, the manifestation makes you want to go to the gym. So I do believe that if you understood the power of your thoughts, you'd never think negatively ever again. But I think manifestation works in another way. I also think that once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? And truthfully, you're like, no, I'm kind of glad it all happened because of. So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things. And I think if you take these approaches, if you take the approach of manifesting what you want so you're constantly motivated and understanding all the bad things that happen to you are just a lesson and one day you're going to get over it, it's pretty easy to be a happy, contented, balanced person. I don't think there's any serious magic to happiness. I think it's a choice and it's pretty easy to do. I think the unhappiest people in the world don't have any struggle at all. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it and they're trying their very best and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps the people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life and they have no objectives to try and conquer are truly the miserable ones. Perhaps we're built for struggle. Perhaps the human mind and soul and spirit is built to struggle. Perhaps we're built to suffer. I know me as a man, I'm happiest when I suffer. Why did the emperors we discussed earlier constantly try and expand their empires? Because they wanted struggle. Yeah. They wanted difficulty. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So I think a lot of people confuse these things and they sit and say, this is merely making me unhappy. Or people ask me about my current legal troubles. Is it making you unhappy? It must be really stressful. I said, yeah, perhaps. But if I didn't have it, perhaps I'd be worse. You know, if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. But if you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark. So if you understand these things, it's pretty easy to be happy.
You have to fight something. Yes. I can shut up and believe what I'm told in the news, but then I won't. Why am I so unhappy all the time? Why am I depressed? Why does my life suck? Why does my woman ignore me? Why do my children not respect me? You're fighting a war. Then you're fighting a war with your own mind. I'd rather have all of me on side and fight against what I know is genuinely evil. You can't escape the battle. The battle's here for all of us. So I've made my decision, and that's why I can't be quiet, because you just said I would lose my self-respect and I'd lose my dignity, and I don't think I can function that way as a man. And I don't think any man should be able to function without self-respect and dignity. The reason men died on the Titanic was for self-respect and dignity. They went into the icy cold water and died because they would feel honorless if they jumped on the boat and left the women to die.
That's right.
So when you have self-respect and dignity, you have a hard parameter, and you'll do things which are deemed crazy or insane because you believe in them and you stick up for yourself. And that's why they don't want men to have self-respect and dignity.
Right? Yeah. This is the thing that I don't truly understand. If I'm unhappy with something and I'm uncomfortable with something, I fix it. Yeah. That's endless motivation, which I don't truly believe in as a concept, but that's endless fuel for the fire. Right. If I was unhappy with something about myself, regardless of what it was, I would be able to take all of that discomfort and turn it into endless energy to get the problem fixed. Exactly. But these people seem to... It's okay to be unhappy. Yeah, well, these people seem to sit and say, I'm really unhappy with X, but then stay doing X. So I don't believe they're truly actually unhappy. What you'll notice if you live life long enough is that somebody will sit and say to you, I'm unhappy being a loser. You say, why are you a loser? I just sit at home and play video games 7 days a week. And you're like, okay. And maybe 3 days of the week, they're unhappy doing that. Yeah. And that's the time they email you, and that's the time they want to make a change. But 4 days of the week, they don't really, it doesn't really bother them. Yeah, it doesn't really bother them. Because if it bothered them 7 days a week, guess what? They would fix it. Correct. Yeah. So I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself, and I've been through so many things that were difficult, and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself, some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a... And now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for these people.
If you're disciplined and you have willpower, that can be applied to absolutely anything, right? If you have unlimited willpower and you can always open up a can and smear it on to whatever you're doing, you're going to do well. So it's all about self-control and self-discipline and making sure that you are the center of your own universe. And a lot of people agree with this, and a lot of people say this, and they go, yeah. But it's very rare to meet someone who's serious about it, in my experience. If you're truly serious about brute willpower, you could achieve anything. Like, you could do absolutely anything. That's what it's all about. So I've just had the same universal stubbornness and refusal to fail. And anything I've ever applied it at, I've done very well with for that reason. If you don't have discipline, you don't have anything, right? People often say to me, oh, but Tate, you're lucky. You're a kickboxer and you were talented. Yeah, I was talented, but I didn't find out I was talented until I was disciplined. If I wasn't disciplined enough to train, I would have never seen my talent. Because the guy with less talent than me, who trained harder than me, would have been kicking my ass. So you don't get to discover anything about yourself. You don't get to discover any of your genetic advantages, any of your talents. You don't get to discover anything about who you are as an individual, your spirit, your soul, what you're made of. Without discipline, you can't even discover anything. So discipline is a key to discovery. Discipline teaches you all about yourself. It teaches you what you really have. You know, there's a whole bunch of people out there that might be the best pianist in the world, but they've never had the discipline to learn piano. So nobody knows. And that's how life works. So discipline is extremely important if you ever want to become anybody or be anything. And everybody knows this, and it's a bit cliche to say, right? But I think that is the common theme. I was extremely disciplined as a child. I had a very disciplined upbringing playing chess, and I could take that upbringing and self-discipline and apply it to myself with everything else I've done, fighting and webcam studios, and now I own casinos and mentorships, et cetera, et cetera. And I make millions and millions of dollars, and people look at me and go, oh, but how? And I'm like, what do you mean how? It's do the right things every day like you're supposed to, on time, every day, and life usually comes together. I really believe that.
You know the worst possible mindset you can try and optimize your life for?
Go on.
Happiness. Happiness is for women and children. You're allowed to be happy as a woman, and you're allowed to be happy as a kid. As a man, if you wake up and go, I want to be happy today, you're going to do unimportant, narcissistic, hedonistic garbage. You're either going to eat too much, drink too much, take drugs, sit around and play video games, smoke weed. You're not going to achieve anything if you want to be happy. It's ultimately temporary, and you sit there and go, I want to be happy today. I want a happy day. You're not going to achieve anything.
But no, you're supposed to wake up and look in the mirror and say, this is my name, this is who I am, I'm going to be the best version of myself, and everybody's going to respect me, and I'm going to force them to, because that's the way the world works. Respect can be squeezed out of people. They don't have to like you. You can't squeeze someone liking you. You can force respect from people, and this is actually most observable with women. There's a whole lot of women who are dating men they don't even like.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping with men they don't even like, but they respect him.
Because it's the security that they offer, right?
That's right. The security they offer and the respect. And they can say, I don't even like him that much. In fact, I hate him, but I just do as he says. Why is that? Because they respect. I mean, I've talked to psychiatrists, and there's some psychiatrists who would argue that it's insecurity to feel like you need to prove yourself to the world all the time. And I think that's part of the psyop. They convince you, you're insecure if you want to prove you're capable. You should have no interest in what people think about you. That makes you insecure. And that is the largest psyop in history. To wake up and say, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to go out there and test myself. And I'm not going to put honor on my last name, because I would hate for people to think I'm insecure. I'm secure. So it doesn't matter if you think I'm a loser. It doesn't matter if I am a loser. So I'm just going to sit at home and I'm secure. No, it's not insecurity. It's called duty to your last name and honor. And that's just another one of the many different tentacles inside of the psyop octopus, trying to snatch any motivation left from the masculine spirit. If I was a man who was unsuccessful and I hadn't met my physical capability or my financial capability or my mental capability or my spiritual capability, I would be insecure. I would sit and say, this is a failed version of who Andrew Tate could be, and I'm not happy with who it is. And I think that every man should be like that, so he gets up off his ass and does something.
But how do you have such incredible self-worth? Obviously, it was instilled within you because we are the sum total of our parents, right? In the first 7 years of our life.
I think so, yes. But also, competence is confidence. I think they go hand in hand. You're going to be confident at doing things you're good at. And I understood I had to get good at things from a very young age. And I was challenged from a very young age to constantly test myself in endless competition. My whole life has been competition.
The reason nobody has discipline anymore is because it's not taught. Discipline isn't taught. And the idea of being disciplined is seen as negative. And we also live in a world where everything and everybody is vying for our attention. Everything. There's ads everywhere. YouTube happens quickly. Kids are being raised with iPads. Like when I was a kid or you were a kid, we had a coloring book. Now they got flashing lights and little video games. Like, how do you think you're going to keep his attention as he grows old? He's been entertained by some of the best software developers in the world permanently since the second he can pick up an iPad. So your attention's very, very difficult. And that's what discipline is, really. It's the ability to stay focused on one thing for a long period of time. And I think most people don't realize how bad their attention span is or how much discipline they lack until they really start to suffer from it. And that's what will happen, especially as a man. I can't say as a woman because I'm not a woman, but as a man, if you don't have the ability to knuckle down and focus on something for a long time, life's going to punish you. Sooner or later, life's going to wake you up, you know? And the reality of mastery and the reality of success is that it's not really a glamorous story. Like, how do you become the best boxer in the world? You do the same thing over and over for 15 years. Jab, cross, hook. Like, it's boring, you know, but that's what discipline is. So the idea that a lot of people want to be constantly entertained I want to be entertained. That's boring. Well, that's why you need discipline. People want to be constantly motivated.
If I don't believe in depression, I believe in feeling depressed. Sure, we're humans, we have emotions. Sometimes we feel depressed, sometimes we feel happy. I don't believe in the idea of becoming a depressed person who has depression. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's possible for me. So if I don't believe in it, how can it happen? I don't believe in depression. So why would I not adopt the mindset that makes me the most capable predator I can possibly be? Why not adopt the mindset that makes me as competent and as fearsome as possible? If you have to install software in your own mind, why would I not install software that makes me capable of not only driving a Bugatti and flying on private jets, but sitting in a Romanian dungeon covered in cockroaches? I need to be able to do all of it. So why would I believe in something that made me incapable? I don't believe in depression because I think that even the belief in and of itself, when you feel depressed, you'll start to consider, maybe I have depression. Then you go see a psychiatrist who tells you have depression. Then they want you on pills. It's the belief that goes down the spiral. If I feel sad, I go, I'm depressed today. I'll be fine tomorrow. When I said depression wasn't real, the number of people who would attack me defending depression, this is what I didn't understand. Right. You say depression isn't real, but depression's ruined my life and it's super real and it ruined my life and I lost my marriage. I'm like, if I told you it wasn't real, you should be coming to me saying, tell me how it's not real. Please help me with my depression. Why are you trying to convince me that it's real? Why are you sticking up for it?
And why are you defending depression?
And why would I adopt the thinking of someone who's sad? Why would you're going to convince me to take your worldview. You just told me your wife left you, you're fat, and you want to kill yourself. And you want me to sit here and go, with my perfect life, and go, you know what? I want to think like this guy. You're out your mind. I don't believe in it. And because I don't believe in it, it's made me the kind of person who can't become depressed. And the reason they don't like me attacking that is because depression is a fantastic way to subdue a population, right? If everybody's depressed, it's hard to have a revolution. You're depressed. Oh, they've locked us all in our houses. I don't want to go outside anyway. I'm sad, right? So depression's a fantastic tool of population control. They have no problem with you being depressed. They have a problem with you being the opposite, principled and energetic.
The only shortcut to life is to never miss a day, because sometimes you get lucky, and you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication, and never missing a day, one, because of compounding interest, and two, if you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day, and you never don't try, and you're always on time, was I late today? No. On time. And you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me, and that annoys me. And you catch yourself being very elitist. And this is what's scary about it, because I'm from a Luton council estate, and now I have all this money. But if I meet somebody who's truly broke, I'm not talking about you not have hundreds of millions, but if I meet somebody who's broke, I think they're an idiot. And I catch myself going, is that bad? Am I elitist? Or do I sit down now and I just say, no, I started lower than you and beat you. How are you poor? You're lazy.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to say, why would you say if they're an idiot if you were once in that position as well?
No, I was, but I got out. And I think one of there's only three reasons you can't get rich in the world today, which is either you're stupid, you're lazy, or you're arrogant. And I find the most common one is lazy and arrogant. It's not stupid. There's nobody at home who is too stupid to become rich. I'm sure anyone watching this podcast right now, if you were to sit down next to me and I were to say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, you could do it. Of course you could. But you're too lazy to learn how to do it yourself.
And you're too arrogant to listen.
And you're too arrogant to listen. It's not about being stupid. You're lazy or arrogant. It's one of the two. Those are the two most common factors of people. So when I meet people who have truly failed, and they pretend to me that they didn't want to fail, I know they're one of the three. And it's usually arrogant. Because when I sit and say to them, you could have got out, they don't say, you're right, I could have got out, I didn't try. That shows humility. They don't do that. They say, no, because it's excuse, someone else's fault, the matrix's fault, no self-accountability. Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about anyway. Arrogance.
Sounds like feminine mindset to me.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then they're going to lose.
Yeah. If you cannot control your own mind, then you are just a feather in the wind of life. Because your own mind is the only thing you can control. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control whether your heart stops beating. You might have a heart attack tomorrow. You can't control anything besides what you think. If you cannot control your own mind, then you go through life with zero control, zero influence. You can't control anything. You're just a feather in the wind, waiting for life to blow you from happy place to sad place to happy place to sad place, completely hoping on the gods to be fortunate to you, because if any genuine discomfort comes your way, you're fucked. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, etc., etc. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. And that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're